Hi, Irfan. How are you? Good evening. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear and see me? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. No, I can't hear you. Okay, you can hear me. Okay. See me also. Video is okay. Okay, no problem. So wait for some time. This guy's joining. So we'll quickly do a recap of the whole thing and then we'll proceed on to the analysis part of it. So I'll just show you how to do some more analysis and then it will be good to go for you guys. Good evening, Adiba. How are you? So please ask your questions. I just in the meanwhile I will wait for these guys, other guys to come. Any questions? Anything to ask? Yeah, any questions? What's the name of the group? I'm not able to find it now. Can you put the name of the group on the WhatsApp? So I can just put a message for the others. There's so many groups I can't understand. RP, okay. Found it. Okay. So what we do is we'll just go through the whole thing again. Okay. So let's say, um, let me start with. Share the screen. Okay. Suppose this is my topic, and okay, and then I do the abstract. Then I write the keywords. Now after the keywords, I go and find out enough articles so that I can write the introduction, the background, and the literature review and the gaps. So once I find that out, I make it into Excel sheet, what I showed you last time. Okay, and then start designating this into citations. Then I have the major findings, and let me find that. So and put it up again. So the citations and then major findings, variables, research method. Okay, then limitation scope and gap variables. Now the why we do this is one for is getting enough articles, references, and to find the gaps. Okay, so you'll see that if I look at the this thing, okay, it will give me enough. Like if I say blockchain, and if anyone is repeating it, you will also find the similar types of citations. Okay, and then looking at the gaps and the gap variables frequency, we go on to make the what do you call as number of times the gaps are repeated to make the conceptual model or find out what is the most appropriate maximum used variables, and then similarly the sub variables of each. Okay, so in the first one you can do maybe 15. For the sub variables you can use 5, and so on. So we find out the gaps and the variables which we already done. Okay, once that is done, then we go on to uh, write the introduction and the background. Okay, to lead to the So generally the information introduction will say talk about what is the current situation of the blockchain, for example. So you talk about how it's used and what are the purposes, what are the cases, and then you will say how the future is looking like. Then you write the research problem, then the objectives, the scope, and the research questions. Okay. Then we talk about the survey of literature. Okay, so which and find the gaps, and then you write about each of these variables of the conceptual model and the hypothesis. So we come out with this conceptual model. Okay, and these are the sub variables within, and it's called hypothesis 1, 2, and 3. So I just kept 3 here. So these are the main variable, blockchain factors, blockchain technology factors, higher education needs factors, HENS, NF, successful implementation. So it is SIF. Okay. So once I do that, then I go on to say what are the methodology I'm following. So here I used what you call as uh, the quantitative research. Okay. So I'm talking about how I used and conducted the online survey and how many people and what is the sample size, everything. So secondary research is basically talking about the uh, what do you call as the literature review, as well as also the preliminary qualitative data you collect from 12 to 15 experts. Then you talk about the data collection, how you have done it. Okay. And then talk about how you're going to do the validation and the analysis. So once that is done, then you develop the questionnaire. Like last time I showed you, from the conceptual model, you make the questionnaire and then have the Google form done. Okay, so last time we have seen the Google form, and then you fill in all the Google form from your conceptual model, and then you disseminate it, the links to all your people. Okay, and they get the responses. The responses graphs can be used to talk about the interpretation, especially for the demographic. Okay, a little bit you can also talk about what is the situation of the Likert scale. For example, you will it will start giving you how many people have strongly disagreed, agreed, and so on. Okay, so it can be in like this. So how many people are saying? So it's talking about strongly disagree. So strongly disagree 6 people, disagree is red, so 7 people, neutral is this 14, and 22, 19. And the whole thing also can be reconstructed by exporting this to here, download the responses, and you can first download as a SVS, CSV, then you can convert it into a Excel sheet. And so initial Excel sheet will look like this. You'll have the timestamp, usernames, then the demographic profiles, okay, and so on. Then you look at, for example, I showed you last time how you can do for each of these. You can manipulate how many people are. You can get it from the Google form, as well as you can do it on the Excel. So which I showed you last time. Okay, and also you can do the what do you call as descriptive analytics of that. Okay, so once that is done, then I look at only the Likert scale. So I code the Likert scale, as I said, so we can find and replace the disagree, agree, neutral, and so on. Okay, and this is the sheet which you'll have, which you can use it for further analysis. Okay, and also you can talk about, for example, in this. Okay, I can find out how many people are. What is I can insert a a graph which is, it will be similar to what you're seeing on your uh, this thing. Okay, so you can use whichever chart you want and so on. So if you're going to use what you call as Excel itself, there's a limitation to which you can manipulate the data, like how this is related to this. Only two boxes you can do, correlate and so on. Okay, which is a limitation. So generally, if I'm using SPSS, I'll take a mean of all this, means of all this, and put it there. Okay, and second mean and third mean, so that we can do with an Excel, and then you compare the correlation between this mean and this mean, this mean and this mean, and the first mean and the last mean. So this much you can do it in Excel. So if we're using SPSS will look like this. Okay, so you can import the sheet. So when I said import Excel sheet or CVS data, whichever, I can import it, and this is the way it will appear. So data variable view will show. So all the variables like this, okay, from the coded sheet. This is same as SPSS will, as I said, the main ops is like the background ops is like Excel. So it will look more or less similar to this. There won't be much different. Okay. So I can, in the Excel, as I said, I can work out the means of each of these, and then I can correlate, okay, between this variable and this variable and this variable, and the first and three. So that's the only restriction what I can do with Excel. So the next step is I'm just showing you what you can do on SPSS. SPSS we can go further. So SPSS directly you can transform, you can compute the variable for each one. Okay, so automatically the last three things will be calculated, and you will get a similar uh, sheet like this along with the means, and it will also give you the calculations, the descriptive and correlation, even the Chromvac alpha. Okay, so that is one way. The second thing is I can import the sheet. Okay, import data the same ways, and then it will come like this. So once it comes like this, okay, straight away I can see that how it's correlated to each other. So it will come like this, means let's say I I'll do it again. Okay, I import the sheet. Okay, choose it. I say next, and finish. Okay, so automatically, because I have marked, it'll, if I remove this, for example, and then do it again for you. Because currently there is no variable, so only thing I have to do here is just drop it here. Okay, and keep doing it for all the variables and rename the variables, and automatically this graph will pop up. So it shows the relationship between each and every variable. Okay, so you'll see here the, this is quite high, is all beyond zero point 0.7, which shows it's a good model fit between the variables. All the variables are valid. Similarly, here you will see all of them are above zero point 0.8. Okay, and similarly here. So zero point 0.7 is the basis. So it's all connected in this way. This is the beta values. This is the R value. Okay, so overall, the model is explained 56.5%, which is quite high. Okay, quite good. So then I can run the analysis. Okay, between this only thing it uses bootstrap. So use bootstrap, assess the model fit, and you have to give a particular value how many times it can reiterate it, and save and run. So automatically it will run. Okay, and give you these values, and then the results can be seen uh, directly from here. So this is the Adanco model, the graphical representation. Okay, so this was H1, H2, and H3, and how it's related. So this is triple star here. So that means it's a very high correlation between the blockchain technology features and the higher education features. Okay, and these are the successful implementation factors. Okay, so which is reasonably well connected, and this is overall explanation of that. So more important is on the goodness of fit is pretty high. They're all green. There's nothing in red. Okay, and then sorry, it jumped. So the most important thing is this table. So you see the flowback alpha is well over zero point 0.9, which is representing a very good fit. Same here, same here. Okay, and the AVE is also good. So all this you can copy it onto uh, the structural model here, the pathways, the R squared, each of these. So all this you can take it to your what do you call your discussion and findings, and you can talk about that. Okay, so there's all very detailed explanations given. So total effects, how they are significantly poised against each other. So this is the overall weightages, one against the other. Okay, so that gives you the R squared below when you see here. So p values will be calculated also. So when you go down, you will see the contrail values of each of this. So this is a very detailed analysis which will be given by Adanco itself. Okay, so I'm just trying to show you the last part, the where it's talking about the R squares. So diagnosis, empirical correlation maze. Okay, standardized scores it will show. Then we look at the data, descriptive statistics. Okay, total effects. So it gives you the t value, p value, one side, both sides. So your hypothesis, this particular hypothesis is when you say there is a significant uh, that is a null hypothesis is always there is no significant relationship between the two variables. So if it's less than 0.05, it's accepted, or else we go for the alternate acceptance. That is a significant relationship between these two. So likewise, you see all the t values are very high, and the p values are also within the limit, except in this case, which is the last one. So you explain all this, and if you look at the analysis in the sheet, that's exactly what you say. So we give uh, the demographics of the respondents. 1 minute, I'll just come. So the demographic values are picked up from the Google form or from the graphs of the Adanco. That will also give you. So how many percentage is that, gender, education wise, and so on. So you can put it in tabular form, and then you explain the correlation between these two. Okay. So these are the indicators, indicator loading against each other. So this is also given by the software. So you just cut paste the this thing from there. So it gives you the Chromback alpha, which again I have shown you there. So that's the table. And then the validity is again the AVE, which I showed you. So I put it in the analysis, then the constant, the discrete validity, okay, and then the collinearity between the various articles. That's also from the output. Then coefficient, that's R squared. It's picked up from the graph and put there. Okay, and the p-values are put, and then the what you call as the path coefficients. So this is all given from the path coefficient is this, okay, and these are the other figures, and the R squared is picked up from here, and that's what we do, and the whole report is generated. Okay, so then you need to explain all this, each one, what is the meaning of that, and this is the final analysis, and then you discuss it, what is the status of the finding. So I pick up the t value, p value, and put it here, and that shows uh, the PLS-SEM validation and reliability test output. Okay, then I explain what are the features and what is the H1, H2, H3 which are getting satisfied, and then I talk about how the limitations of the uh, feature research and the conclusion. So, and the references. So this is how it will be. So if you are doing peerless also, will come similar. So I import the algorithm here. The path coefficients model will be shown now output. Okay, correlations can be seen separately. Then indirect effects, path coefficients, everything can be seen. Okay, R squared constants, AVE. So everything, as I press it, it will get highlighted. The whole thing I can take a snapshot and put it in your this thing. Okay, so this is how it works. So you got 2 or 3 outputs which will confirm the same. So you'll see the output here, and how it's looking at, and how each of these variables are related to each other, and the weightages, etc. Everything can be calculated. So everything will be shown here. So it can come in tables like this. I can copy it and directly put it onto the sheet. So if I want a bar chart, I can put that. I want a list, I can put that. Indirect effects, total direct and indirect effects, specific indirect effects for each one, total effects, matrix. That's the matrix, that's the listing. Outer loading. Again, this graph I have seen on Adanco will be similar to one. So you can just copy that and put it. Outer weights, then matrix, listing, lateral vehicles, the latent variables, scores. So you have a whole list of all this you can generate. Inner model, extra in outer model. Okay, indicator data, the matrix. That's the same, similar to what we have seen on the graph. So these are the two or three different methods of doing the analysis. Okay. So first thing first is once you circulate the data and you come out with the what do you call as the Google form, then you look at the uh, data collection, responses, output, and then you go into getting the thing on. Uh, you can do Excel using the Google form or partly, or you can do totally on Excel. Okay, that analysis. But further analysis will be required because you have an MBA, so you can use SPSS to work out the means and then use the coding of that. And they are all available. All these things will be available on your YouTube also. All this how to do it. So no worries about that. So if you go to YouTube, for example, and say, I'm not sharing, mm, Likert scale analysis using Excel. So they'll tell you the whole method. Just share your screen. It's on Excel, so you can watch that video for some time. Yes. So basically, he is creating this, so you can directly go to the coded one, which you know how to get it. So you can follow this method also. So there is the same thing. You will get it from your Google form also.
So when you say equal to count if, automatically the range it will ask, or see, it will ask to just fill one by one and finish it. Right. So the same thing you can also get it from the chart. Okay, just only showing both ways. Excel how you can use, and the other one. Okay. Okay. So similarly, you can also check it for Adanco. Okay, let me check. Using next one is the SPSS. This is after importing the data set. Okay, so once I showed you that, once you import the SPSS, automatically it will look like this one. This is the same data set, variable data set here. Okay, so which we have seen earlier.